Hey guys, welcome back to Attack on Iron World. How has your week been, and what have you been playing? I've been playing not as much Persona anymore as I finished it. I finally finished Persona, that's right. I'm actually super excited about that. I'll talk to you guys about that in a minute. But I've also been playing some Final Fantasy X, as I've still yet to really 100% finish that game off. So I intend on doing that. Invincible, that's unfortunate. Probably should have checked that. That's okay though. That's not too bad. We can work around that. It'll be okay. Let's use a whole bunch of different stuff, shall we? Yeah, and you know what? I have had some different changes. I've had some different changes when it comes to. Is that going to change it to normal as well? Oh, it changed the blue to normal. Oh, piss. I just added more invincibility blocks. Oh, I'm the worst. I am the worst. So I've had some change of thoughts of things. The sphere grid that I've hated forever, I still hate. I still truly hate it. However, putting it on expert sphere grid makes it a little bit better. Makes it better. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Makes it ever so slightly less shit. And you know what? I can handle that. I can handle ever so slightly less shit. I'm okay with that. I did mention that last time we talked a little bit about like RPG tropes and stuff like that. And yeah, I will. I've got a whole list of stuff that I liked about Persona 5 and I disliked about Persona 5. So we can go through that and we can talk a little bit about the jrpg tropes as well. Like I did actually look up. I did do a little bit of a look up online about different jrpg tropes. Every website was full of crap. Like it was just full of absolute crap. Like JRPGs usually have long linear storylines. It's like, okay, yeah, like that's fine. That's not what I was looking for. It's not really what I was looking for at all. So you know, I actually couldn't find anything of actual stuff that I was meaning or talking about particularly. They went down rather easily, didn't they? Why is it going down so easily? I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna complain. We've gone invaded. Okay. These get weirder and weirder, don't they? They truly get weirder and weirder. It's just got a pair of legs. It's got legs for space days. So yeah, so I won't spoil anything story-wise of Persona 5. I won't spoil anything because I do believe it's so important for you guys to experience the story yourselves. Like it's 100%. You should definitely experience the entire story yourself, and you shouldn't like spoil the story for yourself because it's so good. There's so many like twists and turns that are actually legitimately good. Like one of the best things about Persona is how every part of it, every like little tiny arc feels like an anime. Like the entire show feels like an entire season, well not even a season, it feels like a whole anime in its entirety. And like every arc of the game, every like main bad guy or every just every situation feels like an episode of an anime, or it feels like each arc feels like a season of a single anime. You know, this game took me 130 hours to complete. Like that's how massive it is. It's huge. It's ridiculously big. Right, but there are issues with it. There are a ton of issues that I really kind of annoyed me and frustrated me. I'm just gonna end time because I can't get these guys out of the way. Like besides, like the artificial difficulty in a lot of it is kind of frustrating. Like because these are like these massive boss fights that are really cool, right? These boss fights that are really badass, really enjoyable to do. Like you want to do them because they're so gigantic and great, but at the same time, they take a long time. Like they're not hard. Like they're not like for example, when you play like a JRPG, in a lot of cases, it'll be like a give and take sort of situation, right? You will get hit by a target, and then you will you know respond in healing and then dealing damage back to that target with how well you managed to heal from that previous attack. You know, and it'll be back and forth like a chess game, right? You can like upgrade your buffs or whatever you want to do in that time, but that's the basic of RPGs in general. You can't go over that. Can you destroy the carrot at least? Holy shit, are you fucking kidding me? That's awful. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We'll just get our mages to deal with this. I bet Mystic could get over it. Just saying, sure. Yeah, you can reach it. Great. Yeah, so what I mean by like artificial difficulty is that rather than like a test of you taking a hit and then having to respond to said hit, it's more, a lot of fights are a battle of attrition and like, have you got enough stamina in, like, have you got enough magic points or SP points, and have you got enough like health potions or healing abilities, and have you got enough SP potions to fill up those healing abilities to continue the fight, you know, rather than anything else. And bosses, of course, massive JRPG trope, start to cheat. They start to cheat the system, which really frustrates me, because like they set out, every RPG sets out like a basic line of how the battle system works, right? And Persona does this very well as well. Persona 5 is more about finding an elemental weakness to knock your opponent down to do an all-out attack, rather than actually like dealing anything particular about it. Rather than like, oh, we're just gonna attack until it falls over, you know, like original Final Fantasy and stuff like that. It's more about finding the weakness and knocking it down. And when you knock someone down, you get another go. That character receives another turn. Now, this is fine. However, some bosses later on start to abuse this system. They'll have multiple different types of magic and stuff like that, which is fine. But then they will use a fire attack, right, on all of your party, for example. And that knocks down your ice guy, right? Your ice magic attack guy gets knocked down. So okay, he's been knocked down. Sorry about that. I'm completely a rookie and I don't turn off my phone, so I'm terrible at my job. So yeah, like basically, he gets knocked down, and then the boss receives another turn. This is perfectly fine because this is in the parameters of the battle system itself. Then we get to the point where after they do that turn, they get another go. They shouldn't have that go, because that completely goes against the system of the game. You set the boss to have a certain amount of attack and power, so he is a rival for all four of your people. And each one gets an attack, right? Some bosses will have ads, some bosses won't have ads, and you know, back and forth. Everybody gets a single turn, no matter how many people are there. Bosses start to cheat. This happens in loads of things, like Final Fantasy VII, for example. Like Sephiroth, he will start taking multiple turns at the final battle. He'll take 2 compared to everyone else's 1. And you could argue that that's fair because, you know, you are 3 people and he is 1, or, you know, regardless. The battle system is, the idea of a turn-based battle system is that everyone has a single turn. At least that's how I feel about it. So yeah, I do feel like that is a bit cheap, or I do feel like that's generally in JRPGs like a terrible system to just like immediately start cheating a system to increase the difficulty somewhat. So I feel that's kind of cheap and not very clever. Moving on, the relationships in Persona 5 are not very rewarding. Like, you can have relationships with multiple women if you wish to be an asshole. I myself romanced. I'm not actually going to tell you who I romanced because that's. No, I can. It's early enough. Right? I romanced Anne. She is one of the original 3, like, people that you get of the party. There's a whole bunch, and it's not just related to that as well. Like, you can romance a lot of your other options in the game, like the other options in like just in general. Like, you can romance other confidants and stuff like that. And a confidant is someone that you like a task that you receive to like or make a deal with somebody, and you have to increase that stuff. And by increasing their relationship status, I guess, like their friendship with you, gives you access to different abilities and different rewards, which is very, very cool, because there is a character in the game, which I won't tell you which one, but like allows you to switch out your party members in mid-battle, which is very important. And there's one that gives you extra EXP, and there's one that will, like, even the shops you can do, one will allow you to buy more medicine, and one will allow you to upgrade weapons and stuff like that. So like, it's definitely worth doing them and like strengthening them as much as possible. and it also plays into the story a little bit, which is quite nice. However, relationships itself, no dialogue in the main story situation has changed. Like, not even seating positions and stuff like that, and it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of treated as a secret within the game, which seems kind of odd, and like I'm not sure why it would matter. And that kind of frustrates me. It kind of frustrates me that it because like they kind of treat it like a secret, not for any particular reason, but just so they don't have to change any of the dialogue options mid-game and stuff like that. And it leads to some awkward conversations in the game where you're just like, that it just doesn't make sense. And there are like dialogue choices as well, which also do that. Like there are dialogue situations where you know there'll be for example, it will be a mid-conversation and then you'll have an option of like 3 things to say. Right, and then no matter what you say, they're probably going to say the exact same thing. There are obviously a lot of changes to the dialogue system that make that conversation back and forth very unique and interesting. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't really 100% make sense. And the reasoning behind it, I think, is just I'm not sure whether this is in with just the English translation or not, because I heard some people saying the English translation of the game does have a few issues in the dialogue system. I'm not entirely sure what they were referring to though, because I didn't really, like speech pattern wise or anything like that, I didn't really know much. I'm not an English teacher, I'm not an English professor, I don't know shit. But that I thought that it was perfectly fine, and the voice acting was brilliant. But no, well, voice acting, rocky. Sometimes, very rarely, we'll say, it kind of shits itself. It does a weird thing that doesn't really make much sense, or like there's not enough passion in it. But it's good overall. It's good enough overall for you to enjoy it. But what I mean is like he'll say something in response to the choice you've said, and that response is clearly designed to be for the other response. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, I'm not sure why you offered me to do that. Did we not pick up the fish? I feel like I didn't pick up the fish on that last stage. I'm not sure about that, but there's like other things, like for example, you are the leader of said group, of well, of your party in Persona 5. You are the leader, right? In most games, you are the leader, you are the hero. But in this one, you don't have much input, and that's for a multiple different amount of reasons, and some of them are understandable. Like you're treated as a quiet person who only talks every now and again, which is fine. I don't necessarily mind that because it adds to a characterization and stuff like that. It's fine, but it seems a little interesting because you have despite being like the most important person in the game, you don't have many actual options or like actual systems that change the game in any way, because of course they're trying to tell a narrative, so they don't want to give you too much free will, which is again fine, but it's like they give you false choice, like artificial choice. They don't want you to change things too much, they just want you to feel like you have an input even though you don't really, and the story is going to go the way it is regardless of what relationship you pick and what you do, and it doesn't matter, you know, it's just going to go that way regardless. The music in Persona, right? The music in Persona 5 is astounding. In fact, the main boss theme, Rivers in the Desert, is fucking so good. Like, it's just on my phone now, so I just listen to that all the time. It's just so good. It's such good soundtrack. And I can appreciate that. I love a soundtrack. Soundtracks in video games are just incredibly important. They are massively important. There's no other way to put it. They are one of the most important parts of a video game. Just period. Just like the actual like hitting the soundtrack, getting it perfect is way too important, in fact, for a video game. And especially, you know that they've really nailed it when you can listen to that soundtrack outside of the game. When you're not playing the game and you can listen to the soundtrack and you want to listen to that soundtrack. Like, I love listening to the Final Fantasy 9 soundtrack, or the Guild Wars 2 soundtrack, or the Final Fantasy 14 soundtrack. I love listening to those soundtracks all the time because they're so fucking good. And like, that's when you know you've really fucking nailed it. You know, like I talked on Twitter a while ago about how like even some of the worst Final Fantasies, like even some of the worst like Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 2, well maybe not 2, 2's music's not very good. Like Final Fantasy 8, I know a lot of people get angry about that. I'm sorry if you like 8, I don't. It's even those games have phenomenal music, and that is so incredibly important. You know, it's so important to have good music in your game. It's almost ridiculous. I should have put him there actually. Take out those two. That was a misplay.
I shall go.
It's so incredibly important. It must be so difficult for like music writers in general to like actually get that stuff down. Because everything, like if you don't have the right music for the right scene or the right moment, it's pulls you out of the experience. You don't even care. Like music can set atmosphere. It can completely destroy a scene, or it can even make one of the scenes the most memorable times ever. Whenever you hear that track, you immediately are like referred back to the feelings you had when you were doing that scene. You know, like that's how instrumental music is. It's too important, basically. And there's a whole lot of stuff here that I've written down, which isn't entirely important. It's more for my own personal, like review thing. As I don't review games. You guys know that. I don't review games. I don't do videos like that. But I do them in my own time, in a weird way. Like I do like little tiny ones that I have on my PC, and that's just for my like game of the year thing. I have a folder on my file of PC every year of every game I play, and so I like try and give it at least like a mini score, because I don't really like assigning a numerical value to games because it's so difficult to explain that in a number, you know. So I try not to do that, but just like it's easier for me just to register it in my brain, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. But the game Persona 5 is like, it's 100% worthy of Game of the Year, or at least RPG of the Year, you know? Like 130 hours, that's crazy. That is insane amount of fucking... It's just mind-boggling, isn't it? Like 130 hours. That's just base game. That's just base game. Like, I mean, that will get more game. Like, there won't be an expansion or anything like that. There'll probably be another edition. There's another edition of it. You know, at some point, maybe for like a Vita 2 or something. You know, who knows? But it's like other than that, we're probably not going to see another Persona 5 at all until the next Persona, until Persona 6. Or until they decide to actually revive a Shin Megami Tensei series, like a Digit Devil Saga or something. We're not going to see anything that good. Misty, did you actually just do that? Did you like legit just do that? S4, here we go. Done. Beautiful. Squeeduke, how you come? You attack some people far off. But yeah, there's like a whole other list of stuff that I could go into, but I'm not going to bother just due to like stuff that you won't really be interested in. Now, I can't really say this without thinking, so I'm just going to say like, no, I'm not going to say anything, actually. I'm not going to say anything about it. There's a point in the story which they use voice acting to change something, and it's absolutely ingenious. It's so fucking genius that I was so happy when it happened. I was like, that's amazing. It's so clever. It's so simple and clever that it's just phenomenal. And I can't go into it because I don't want to spoil that moment, you know? Like, I don't want to spoil that moment. But those of you who have played Persona 5 and have done that, you will probably immediately know what I mean and be like, yes, I understand. If you do, let me know in the comments. Just quickly put I understand. And I'll be like, yeah, okay. You get it. You get it. It's good. It's a good game. It's worth every penny. It's worth every penny of your money and every second of your time. It's definitely good. There are moments where it does drag on. There are moments where it does drag on, and it's like, oh, you know, I kind of want to just skip a few days and stuff like that. That I can kind of understand. But it's definitely worth playing through the entire time, because there's so many ups and downs, you know, like when you're stealing the final item in a dungeon or whatever, like it's such like due to the soundtrack and like what you're doing and like how you're doing it and like the story elements that happen, makes you so hyperactive and so like into it. At the same time, there's like points where you're just like getting up, going to school, coming home, reading a book, going to school, coming home. It's like it's a bit too real, you know, at some points. Like, you know, you can come home and play a video game at some points, you know, and it's like the mini games and the video games are pretty cool as well. They're pretty like they're easy and like not hard to do, but it's fun to do regardless. I've spent an entire episode talking about Persona 5 and just JRPGs in general. I hope that's okay with you guys. It's good, but I finished it, finally. I'm playing 10 now. Once I finish that, I'll talk about that a bit more, I guess. And who knows, I want to play The Witcher as well. I want to play Witcher 3 at some point, but it's really long and Stormblood's coming in like a month. So, holy shit. Got an idea for a video as well for Final Fantasy related. I want to try and do that. I'm not sure how well that's going to go. Let's see if I can well and see what level we are now. I didn't look at what we were. We're level 178. That's not bad. We'll break the 10,000 attack next time. They were pretty weak that time. I'm not sure why they were so weak in comparison to us. Because last week we lost a lot of players. We lost a lot of people died. But oh well. Oh well, it's fine. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. There will be more Gundam, Dynasty Warriors Gundam on the channel. There'll be more tales going on the thing. The tale of Sanada, or the stories of Sanada, will come out at the end of the month. We're definitely going to try and have a look at that and have a little go before Stormblood. And depending on if you guys really enjoy it or not, I'll do an extra lot of work and get that out for time as well as Stormblood. But we'll look at that when we come to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, leave a like and a comment down below. That would be fantastic. Question of the day: did you buy Persona 5? If not, why? I'll see you all next time.